Welcome to Channel AMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your migration agent and consultant for the Australian Insight and its system. Now, in today's video, I would like to take this opportunity to discuss the General Skill Migration Scheme. So it's basically the most commonly used visa and the migration pathways for Australian visa systems. So give you a big scope about the actual how the GSM General Skill Migration works. Basically, a person could come into Australia via a study abroad in any of the university in Australia. Now, once they graduated with the skills and with the right experiences, they can be invited by the federal government or the state or territory governments, or even into another category for designated regional migration scheme, which is a new 491 visa. So now people ask me, do I really have to mandatory or compulsory to actually attend a course of study? Now, you do not necessarily need to do that, but Australian government does give incentive for an applicant or migrant to actually attend and study in Australia, and you get extra points. Now, if you do know about the systems, the higher the point that you get, the better chance you'll get invited by the government. So again, it's not necessary that you have to study in Australia, but if you do, you get that extra points. Now today, I would like to explain three category visa in which each one of them do have their different streams. So I'll give you a big scope, and for the video it will be a bit lengthy, but actually give you more of introductory to the whole GSM General Skill Migration. Okay, now let's jump into the first category. It's what we call what the immigration had categorized as subclass 189. So it's a skill independent visa. As you can see down here at the immigration website, down right here, there's two streams. So there's one New Zealand stream and the other one is points test stream. So I'd like to go through with New Zealand stream first because that's an easier one to explain and taking less time. So basically that means that you are a New Zealand citizen and you have been coming into Australia via its 444 visa, which is special category visa. And if you do meet the requirement, for example, satisfying the income requirement, which is, let's have a look, 4 completed financial years, and from what I know of with inside of the legislative instrument is that the annual wage has to be above $53,900 in any type of occupation. There is no requirement to go into an occupation list as long as you have been living in Australia, working for a consecutive of 4 years with that wage rate, you'll be able to actually gain and lodge for permanent residency under subclass 189 New Zealand stream. Okay, so that's basically what that actually meant. So let's just jump back to the okay, now here we go. Now let's go into the point tested stream. That's another one that's a very commonly used category, but during 2019 the change of the national immigration scheme actually had cut down a lot of quota, meaning the numbers of 189 visa applicants for the future and currently as well. So they now promote more for migrants to actually go to designated regional area, which we will explain at the third category of visa. So if you do have interest in that, stay tuned. We'll get to that in a moment. So 189 basically is an invitation type of visa that's invited through the federal government, which is the Department of Home Affairs, and you don't have to go through the state sponsorship, but however the points that you require is actually going to be high. Now for all these three category visa, you are required to be invited. That's very common and has been adopted by UK, and also I believe that USA is looking to adopt this invitation-based type of and point tested visas in the future. Now, all the skills required to go through skill assessments. Now, it does have a checklist of the required for different kind of category of skills or occupations. Now, if you do follow our video, there has been a lot of different other assessing authority which we have been introducing and giving you detailed explanations, but we're coming up with all the new ones and updated because there has been some law and updated information there. Now, you do require to be within a certain list of occupation, which I'm not going to go into detail today, but if you do have interest, just type in Home Affairs space skill occupation list, then you will see the full skill occupation list. Type in whatever the skills or occupation that you're in, you'll be able to find out whether you are categorized under 189, 190, or other type of visas, which is very convenient for anyone to do it. Now, be of this age, so you have to be under 45 years of age, and you need to have a score of at least 65 points. Nowadays, we found that a lot of applicants are actually being accepted at the score of about 80, 85, and even up to 90 or 100. So, meaning that it's a very competitive areas of migration pathway. So, if you do have that confidence to actually get invited under 189, you have to achieve very, very high. We're going to the point test table later. Okay, now you do require to achieve a level of competent English, which is equivalent to IELTS 6 across 4 bands. Okay, now let's go into the points. Now, I believe there's a points calculator here where we can access, and we don't want to jump into this one. Let's click on points table. I think it's quicker that way. Okay, now points table, and remember you need to get 65 at least to actually be able to lodge your expression of interest onto the skill select system. Now, bear in mind you need to score much higher than that for 189 visa from 2019 and also coming up in 2020. I haven't seen anyone have a minimum score of 65 being invited for quite a long time. So I would say your aim should be at least 80, 85 points. Okay, now the age, if you are, now bear in mind for 189 visa and the state sponsorship and the designated regional 491 visa, the points table are all similar. The only differences is the state nomination points that you will get for extra. Okay, so the basis of the qualification, age, skill, occupations, English, they're all the same. Okay, they're all the same. Okay, so age, if you're between 18 and 25, you get 25 points. Between 25 to 33, you get 30 points. Between 33 to 40, you get 25 points. And between 40 to 45, you get 15 points. So the best age for the highest score will be 25 to 33. So that's basically a graduate with a lot of work experiences once you graduate. So, okay. Now, English language, I've been promoting that if you do seeking to migrate, your aim should be at the superior English level, which equivalent to an IELTS level of 8 across 4 bands. So, and that gets you the highest English language points of 20. Now, you should always aim at that. And the minimum should be at proficient, which is an equivalent to IELTS level of 7 across 4 bands, and that gets you a 10 points. Now, if you only meet the minimum, unfortunately, competent English, you get no points. And no points, you get no advantage. Okay. Now, bear in mind those ones who get 80, 90 points, they definitely have superior English. If you don't have a superior, it's similarly impossible to reach that kind of points. Okay, now overseas skill employment. So you have to have at least 3 years. Now 3 years onwards to 5, you get 5 points. You can at least 5 years of working experience overseas, you get 10 points. And over 8 years of work experiences, you get 15 points. Now they give you more points if you have skill employment or work in Australia. So if you do work for 1 year in Australia, you get 5. 3 years, you get 10. 5 years, you get 15. Over 8 years, 20. Now, I doubt how you can actually work in Australia for 8 years and you haven't even got the right visa. So there's actually people like that, but very, very rare. Very rare. Okay. Now, coming down to education qualification. So if you have graduated with a PhD, you get 20 points. Bachelor or above to masters, you get 15 points. Diploma or trade, 10 points. Other qualification that as long as you get recognized by relevant assessing authority, you get 10 points. Rarely I have people like in these areas, but most commonly are from diploma onwards. So at least get 10. Obviously, the higher qualification that you have achieved, you have the high points that you get. Okay. Now there is incentive on specialist education qualifications. Now these are the graduates who have at least done a master by research or above, meaning PhD. So you have to be at the STEM, STEM, science, technology, and the engineer and mathematics. So it covers biological science, chemical science, earth science, mathematics science, and physical astronomy, information technology, IT. That's easy to understand. And other engineering part of. So basically engineering, it covers predominantly most of the engineering. So if you have studied these subjects or majors for your master by research or above for PhD, you will get that extra 10 points. So that encourages researchers to actually take their migration pathway into Australia, which is beneficial for Australian economy and the country. Now, if you have studied in Australia for at least 2 years, you get that extra 5 points. And if you have done a professional year, now professional year is only open for accountants, IT graduates, and engineering graduates. So that's 1 year of sort of like internships. Okay, you get that 5 points. Okay, it's another course. If you do want to have no more information, you can leave a comment below. Okay, now Credential community language. Now this is a game changer from the traditional NATI translator or interpreter registration or license. So as long as you have meet the Credential community language, which is similarly like with your mother tongue and English, if you can translate and help. For example, if you bring one of your mate from your home country to Australia and you can facilitate and help him to communicate, translate between him and other locals, then you'll be able to actually get that CCL, Credential Community Language. So you can contact the CCL or NATI Center to find out where you can take that kind of test. Now, if you have studied in regional Australia, by means excluding Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, I think that's it, right? Rest of the areas or university, if you study in any university apart from all these 3 cities, you'll be able to actually gain that regional study 5 points. Partner skill. Now, this has been updated and changed as well. So if you don't, if your partner can actually meet the skill requirement and is under 45, have competent English, you actually get that 10 points. So you find someone who is similar like you, a skilled migrants, you get that extra 10 points. If your partner can achieve only competent English but no skill assessment, you get 5 points. Now, if you're single or your partner is a Australian citizen or permanent resident, you get 10 points. So that's the extras there. Now, that's for 189. Now, let's come to 190. Now 190 is fairly similar to 189. Now 189 is independent skill migration, so you solely depend on all your background profiles rather than having any points given by the state or territories. So every state and territory, you need to go into their immigration website or migration website. They do have their own rules and criteria to actually invite you under the state nomination. So in today's video, we're not going to go into those details, but if you do want to have more information, leave your comment below. Now, eligibility is very similar. Okay, so you gotta be invited, gotta be nominated by any of the states. So if you go into this website, click on any of these links, that will take you to the state immigration website. Then you can find out the criteria for a particular state or territories. Again, you need to get skill assessment, and you have to be under 45. Now the English is the same. Now points calculator. Let's jump into here. I can show you it. Once you go into points calculator, you click on 190 and then you click on the points table here. It's gonna be very similar. So at the bottom, at the top, age, English language, employments, qualifications, special education qualification, Australian study requirement, professional year, community language, studying regional, partner skill. That is exactly the same. The only differences is down here, the nomination. Now, the nomination by a state or territory for 190 will actually only get you extra 5 points. So you gotta understand, the hard part here is, again, 189. Remember how I have described it. Nowadays, the points is actually about 80, 90, or even hundreds. So you got to consider that whether you can actually meet that kind of points. And obviously, this is a state nominated and get you a permanent residency straight away. Now, from 2019, early this year, the Australian government had gone into a large debate and a change in the face of change to actually promote immigrants to go to regional area. So the new kind of visa coming out is this one, 491. Okay, the 491 visa does not get you a permanent residency straight away. They get you higher points, get invited. We'll go into the points table later. And they want you to stay and work in designated regional area for at least 3 years to transfer into a permanent residency. It's the new pathways, which is kind of easier than 189 and 190. But the only drawback is that you have to stay and live and work in the designated regional area for at least 3 years in order to transfer into a permanent residency. So let's jump into there and have a look. Now, it's basically the same. So if we go to eligibility, it's still the same. You got to be invited. You got to be nominated. Okay. Now, here, being nominated, the state and territories, the occupation list is actually larger than 190, where they set out a lot of different criterias. And you have to be under 45. You have to get that skill assessment as well. You have to be at least 65 points. Now, and you have to meet the English language level as well. Now, the only key here is the points table. Now, the points table obviously will be different. So if we go into the points table here, let's have a look. Everything at the top is the same. Let's scroll down all the way to the bottom. Now you will see the nomination sponsorship is actually getting you an extra 10 points compared to 190 only gave you 5 points. So in order to meet that kind of mark, by having yourself lodging a 491 expression of interest, is actually giving you a better chance because you get higher points to reach that level. So obviously, once you're invited, you will lodge the state application, get that approved, invited by immigration, and lodge for 491, and they do give you a priority process. And then once you get that 491 approved, Only thing that you're required to do, there is no under the current law, I don't believe they will want you to stay in the same area. But as long as you move around the whole nation, as long as you're in the designated regional areas, that's all fine. But you need to commit it to have that work experiences and being paid over the minimum $53,900 for 3 years. Then you'll be able to transfer into what they call 191 permanent residency visa 3 years later, which will be open on the 16th of November 2022, I believe. Okay, so that's basically the introductory to the general skill migrations nowadays and the coming up 2020. So they are again 189 visa, there are 190 visa, and there's 491 visa. Although this video is a bit long, but I want to take this opportunity to actually give that introductory to all of the viewers. Obviously there's a lot more detail than this, so if you do have questions, leave a comment right below. And finally, I would like to invite you to consider subscribe to this channel, so once we have new information and new update from immigration, you get all the information and updates. Thank you for watching. I see you for next video. Goodbye.